Hello, Hope City Church. I hope you've had a good start to your week. This is an important announcement about our new venue and what's happening in that area. So, Jesus said in Matthew 28, "Go and make disciples of all nations." It's the most important activity that we can do on planet Earth. It's the reason that the church exists, to tell people about a loving Heavenly Father who has made a way through Jesus to be reconciled back to Him and to be able to live at peace with God. Hope City Church started because of this fact, because Jesus told His disciples, "Come and follow me, and I will make you fish for people." And so everything we do revolves around this, preaching the gospel of the kingdom that saves people and transforms them with ever-increasing glory into the image of God. Now, if you've been at church the last few weeks, you'll know the big news that we're about to start a brand new chapter. We've signed a lease agreement, we've paid the deposit for a new venue, and we're about to start the building and construction aspects. The reason that we're looking for a new venue in the first place for nearly a year now is because this gospel is bearing fruit. There has been growth. Jesus is building His church. So our new venue is in the Storage Genie warehouse adjoining Hyper Paint on Harris Road. It's 47 Harris Road. We are going to be nearly tripling the size of our kids ministry and nearly doubling the size of our adult facility. We'll have a new large area for tea and coffee, for mingling, for fellowship, for hanging out and connecting. All the sections are going to be under one roof, which is really cool. You won't need to take your kids somewhere else and sign them in. The security is going to be so much better, and the safety as well. And there aren't any other businesses open around us in this new facility on a Sunday. So our access control is going to be so much better and safer. Now, in some ways, it might be quite nice to kind of stay where we are. Growth means change. It means new people. It means more people. But if Jesus is building His church, if He is growing His church, we never want to be the ones who say to God, "That's enough, no more." We never want to put a lid or a cap on what God is doing. We've had some prophetic words a few years ago from Isaiah 54. It says this: "Enlarge the place of your tent, stretch your tent curtains wide, do not hold back, lengthen your cords, strengthen your stakes." In other words, God a few years ago was speaking into an enlarging and an expanding of where we are. In June last year, Mark Wimble prophesied about a new season where we would break ground. He said the season you're in now is an establishing season, like a root underground. It's constrained by the soil, but it's being established. But there's a new season coming where we're going to break out. There'll be new life, new growth, new spaciousness, and a new freedom as we expand. Then in September last year, Steve Hunkin, in one of our elders meetings, he prophesied. He says, "I know you're looking for a new venue." And while we were praying, I had a picture of a paint can, a paint roller, and a roller door. I think it has something to do with your new venue. And guess what? Our new venue is right behind Hyper Paint, and the entrance is a roller door. How amazing that God knew already last year that He was speaking into our future before we even knew about it. We're bearing fruit. God's life is evident in this church, and we are ecstatic to be on this next stage of the journey. Now, Vasen is putting together the budget for the construction aspects and all the aspects we need to furnish and decor and make the venue usable. We need about 400,000 Rand. Now, some of this is going to be covered by the landlord, but we're going to need to put in soundproofing insulation, carpets on the floors, more chairs, ventilation, a cooling system, also some decor to make the warehouse look and feel a whole lot more inviting and welcoming to visitors. Our musos are excited about the potential for a much bigger stage. The one they have now is really cramped and small. Our hosting team are over the moon to be able to host and welcome and have people comfortably and be able to connect without being squished like sardines. Our kids ministry are thrilled to have enough space that all of our kids could invite a whole bunch of their friends to come along. as we've done in the past, as King David did when he was preparing for his son to build a temple, we're going to take up an offering for the costs of this project. We're asking the whole church to join us in investing in this next chapter of what God's doing at Hope City Church. Over and above our tithe, we give as God moves our heart and directs us. And so let's give generously. Let's trust that God will multiply all that we're doing, not just financially, but there'd be a greater measure of His presence and His Spirit. We're not trying to build a comfortable church. We don't want leather-covered armchairs or lazy boys or fancy TV screens in the back of every chair. This venue is a tool, a better tool for God to reach people in the neighborhood that He's planted us in. So it's a means to preach the gospel, see people saved, and see people discipled. And so let's get before God and ask God, Lord, what should I be giving? And when you EFT, please put down new venue or building fund as your reference so we can allocate that appropriately. When Jesus taught His disciples about finances, He had a lot to say about it. But when He spoke about giving, He also spoke about giving into ministry and missions and giving into things that are going to have an eternal impact, like the advancing of the kingdom and what we're doing at Hope City Church for an eternal, a long-term, a heavenly investment, not just thinking of the short term. So let's trust God together that He would multiply what we give. Let's be faithful and get before God and hear what He's saying so that together we can go forward into this future, this new season that God has for us. God bless you, my friends.